Hey, what's up, guys? Carry on without the video, and today I'm gonna do my Naruto review, episode 85 review English dub. So here it goes. Episode starts out with Jiraiya there. Come came and saved the day there. In the previous episode, we see Jiraiya come and save the day and shit like that. Technically, Uriah actually like introduced himself and shit like that to uh, Kisame and Itachi there, and mostly Naruto was like he's like cut it out with the fucking intros and stuff like that. He's like Naruto was getting he's like you're just a freaking perv and stuff like that. He's like you're the pervy sage and shit like that. And then fucking Jiraiya was like he got a little bit offensive with Naruto. He's like quit calling me that and shit like that. and freaking Kisame was actually saying, well, Jiraiya, you actually have some type of new name and shit like that. So he told Kisame actually was saying something that to him and shit like that. And Jiraiya was actually was saying to Kisame and Itachi there, saying you're both going after Naruto there. And then and then Itachi knew what Akashi was saying. Akashi actually said the same thing there. And then he's like, Itachi was actually saying something to Jiraiya, saying like, he's like, you're the one that told Akashi about this, and he's like, you're the one that told Akashi about this and shit like that. And that's what he said to Jiraiya, and and then freaking Jiraiya was actually saying something too. Then he's like, well, I can take you both down and stuff like that. And then Sasuke was trying to step in there, and he said, he's like, stay out of this and stuff like that. So Jiraiya knew it was technically revenge there. Sasuke wanted revenge with with fucking Itachi, what he did to his clan there and shit. So Sasuke was running and he was trying to punch Itachi there, but Itachi fucking kicked him in the face and shit, knocking him fucking. He technically knocked him. He technically knocked him. He knocked him there, and he flew against the fucking wall and shit like that. So he technically knocked him there, and he actually threw against him against the wall and shit. And Sasuke there, he's like I don't. He's like, I fucking had it and stuff. Naruto was about to charge at him, and then Sasuke was telling Naruto he's like, don't do this. He's like, he's mine and shit like that. So he was like saying shit like that. Or that's what Sasuke was saying. He's mine and shit. And then he fucking tries to, Sasuke fucking charges right at him again, and he knocks him into the fucking wall and shit like that. Tachi fucking picks up Sasuke, saying he was still fucking weak there. So he told me he was still fucking weak and stuff like that. And then he's like, you never will beat me and shit like that. That's what Itachi was actually saying to Sasuke there. And then he puts him into this fucking technically he actually put him in a genjutsu there. He put Sasuke in a genjutsu there, so he's like reliving. He actually was reliving his past where his clan got fucking, or Sasuke's clan got fucking killed by Itachi. So he's actually living through that again and shit like that. And then he was like getting traumatized there when and then he was getting traumatized and shit like that. He's mostly when we seen him in the real world, it was just like screaming his ass off and shit like that because he was tailing a genjutsu there, or just trying to stop that and shit like that for it. So when that was going on with that shit, Naruto was seeing Naruto didn't really want to. Naruto was actually saying he's like, well, I don't want to step back here and shit like that. So Naruto was gonna charge right at Itachi there, and then fucking Jiraiya did this genjutsu there where he actually did like a toad genjutsu there. So and then he said to Tachi and Kisame there, he's like, you know, you're in the body of the beast there, and then he's like this toad is really hungry there, and he's like, won't do nothing to piss him off and shit like that. So they he was actually he told Naruto not to move and shit like that. So he told Naruto not to move. But and then Kisame and fucking Itachi were running there, so they were fleeing and shit. And then fucking the Toad thing was trying to technically chase after their asses and shit. Itachi did something there to the wall there. I think he's a Rasu there. I can't really say the name there. He did some I think he did some uh, he did his Rasu there. I think that's what it was called. Some things there and shit. So he bust through the fucking wall there with his Rasu. And then Kisame was saying like, why use that thing there? He's like, why use that jutsu to get out of there and shit like that? And he's like, what's the plan? He told Kisame, he's like, what's the plan now? He's like, we're gonna keep running and shit like that. And then Itachi was actually saying to Kisame, saying, we're gonna go after Naruto there, but this time we have to just rest and shit like that, just to recuperate and shit. So he actually was saying stuff about that. When that was going on with that shit. So Kisame, Itachi and Kisame ran off there. And Naruto, he's like, what is these? He's like, what is these? He's like, what this? He's like, what is this fire? He's like, this is like, He's like, what is these black flames there? He was saying something about the flames being black and shit like that. And then he's, because of the Rasu. And then frickin' Jiraiya was actually saying Naruto was almost going to touch the flames there, but Jiraiya stopped him. He's like, don't touch those. And he's like, these are like, and he was like, concerned about the flames there. Jiraiya was concerned about the flames. He's like, this is like weird. He's like, these flames are totally different from from the from the toad stomach there. And then he was saying something about the toad stomach was he was like, these are kind of like weird ass flames and shit like that. That's what he was saying. So he used some type of skull thing there to clean it up there. And he was saying something to Naruto, or he was actually saying something to Naruto there. He's like, what is going on? Stuff like that. When technically Jiraiya got rid of the toe stuff and stuff like that. And then Naruto ran over with Sasuke there and said thought he was okay and shit like that. But he was not technically okay. He was kind of like traumatized and shit like that. So he asked Jiraiya there. Naruto asked Jiraiya there to say, it's like, what is going on with him? And he's like, stuff like that. And Jiraiya like looks at him and shit. Out of nowhere there, we see fucking Guy there. Fucking kick fucking Jiraiya in the fucking face. Thought he was an enemy and shit like that. He's like, oh, crap like that. And then he'd realize he kicked fucking Jiraiya in the fucking face. He's like, oh crap. He's like, how the fuck, he was like, how the fuck, thing there and shit like that. And then, he's like, mostly, Guy was actually saying something about this he actually was saying something about what actually happened. They were like, what happened to Sasuke and shit like that. And then he was actually saying something about the Jiraiya was actually explaining what actually happened to Sasuke to guy there, and then guy was actually explaining, saying this actually happened the same with Akashi there. So he was actually saying something about it actually did happen with Akashi there and shit like that. And then the end of the episode, we Jiraiya was talking about taking Tsunade and shit like that. And then we get to finally see what Tsunade. We actually get to see Tsunade for the first time there, and technically Shizune there. We actually get to finally see Tsunade and Shizune there. Shizune actually said, he's like, oh, she told Tsunade there, freaking, uh, she's like, oh, she's like, how you got this and stuff like that. And then Jiraiya was like the all-time sucker and a master of witchcrafting, and he actually said Tsunade and shit. So, yep, that's where the episode ends. So, yep, comment, rate, and responsible to this. Remember this. We would like subscribe for the notification once you uploads. Comment, responsible to this. Remember this. We like hang out. At your peace.